What's going on, everyone? John from Coins for Skate here, and today we have another fingerboard unboxing. And I know what you're thinking. 2 uploads, solid uploads with quality content, if you could even call it that, within a month period? I'm not even sure how long it's been, but I know that this is unprecedented for my upload schedule because I don't upload. But anyway, today we have an unboxing from a company who've actually wanted a product from them for a pretty long time. It is none other than Kalye decks. Now, I actually ordered this not too long ago, but I've been waiting for it for a little bit. It has parcel tracking, so I was able to see where it was and when it got there, and it was kind of weird. So first, it was around me. Actually came all the way from California, then I saw it was in the, first time I checked, it was San Diego Distribution Center, and next time I checked, it was all the way to me already. That was pretty surprising. But then it was like the next township over for a day or two, and then it went back to this distribution center near me. And I had no idea why this happened until I realized there was these big words on the page of the tracking that said February 24th. But today is actually the 23rd when I'm filming this, and the package has arrived already. I came home from work, and before I even left, I checked the status. It said it was being delivered, it was out for delivery, and the estimated delivery time was today. So, anyway, let's get into this unboxing before I stall any longer, because I'm sure that all of you are anxious to see what's in here, as well as I am. Alright. Now, I do know what graphic this is. I'm not sure if it came assorted. Anyway, and before I unbox this, I've been trying to do better since last time, in terms of quality and my voice. So, the last video, I reviewed and edited it. I hated it so much. I was so quiet because I'm not really good with being loud. I'm a naturally soft-spoken or quieter person as opposed to other people or friends I may have. But I'm trying to work on that since the best videos I know, people are talking loudly. And that's one of the best selling points of a video. You want to watch, not just because it's good quality or has the best quality cameras out there. I'm using my phone right now, so that's not really a big issue to me. But when you can actually hear the person on the video, it makes the viewing experience a whole lot more enjoyable. It makes it a lot more likely that someone would stick around to watch it. I can feel the deck's facing me. I'm not going to look at it. I want you to be the first to see it. I can feel the grip tape. Let's take that out first. This is the standard stop sucking grip tape from Kalye decks. Very thin. I love the way it looks. It should be very nice to put on the deck itself. And here we go. Oh yeah. This is a Kalye Rural 33.3, I believe. Oh, no, just 33. I'm used to saying 33.3 because that's my usual. If I can't get it as 0.6, I think that was what I got for the Kalye. But look at that shape. Very interesting. The nose. Let me better focus on that. The nose of it kind of reminds me of some sort of. I'm not sure why, but it reminds me of an old school deck. Almost looks like one of the stacked decks you'd see. I'm not sure if you know about stacked decks. I really don't either. I only know them because I've seen them on some videos. Let's take this out of the packaging. Very smooth, very nice. At first I thought this was actually a split ply. Like this was, Kalye was at least embossed a little bit. Oh, I forgot about that. The one thing I also love, not just about the graphics, also about the board itself. Man, I cannot make this focus. I'm using my phone right now, as I mentioned before, so you can't really see it too well. See if I can. I think that's kind of better. The one thing I really like about the decks is that on the side of it, it's very comparable to a normal skateboard in real life. It has, from what I can see, green, reddish violet sort of color, and then green plies in the center. And I just really thought that was a very interesting aesthetic to have on the board, since it's not really going for, or typically you wouldn't see a company going for the realistic type plies. And that's something I always really liked. I don't know, I just don't like the really plain sort of plies on it. I always like when they have some sort of coloring. So, let's get this set up. Before I even set it up, first impression, the tail, I'm actually used to using a shorter tail now since I was using the Kalye I reviewed last video. And speaking of Kalye, I do have another package coming soon, get this back in focus to the table. But I do have another board coming. Should be here in, I'm not even sure when. They don't have parcel tracking like Kalye did, but my guess would be here from anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks. But anyway, back to this board. First impression, very, very nice. Kalye, the logo, the logo is very nice. And outside of it, the yellow coloring on the outside, it's like it doesn't have the RealWear sort of look. It has wood grain. That's why it's actually called the Clear logo. I never knew what that meant, but that's because it's just screen printed color, I guess, and it's clear, and then the rest of it is just malware. It's just RealWear. It's upside down. Oh my god. Other than what I can see right now, let's get this board set up and see how it performs. I hate when that happens. My hamper just started falling over from all the clothes in it. I always think there's a ghost coming up to kill me. Those just falls on the stairs? Oh, I heard something rolling down the stairs in my video. Oh, Bella. You okay? You okay? Alright, I got the board set up. I got the 32 wide Black River trucks on it, and the J4 flat face plastic wheels. They're like the G4s, except they're J Linehan signature or whatever. I'm not really sure, but they're essentially the same thing. But the board itself, while I was putting the tape on, very interesting tape. Very thin, so you can barely see it on there. It reminds me of real skateboard grip tape. It's very thin, very realistic, and you can really feel all the features of the deck, which can be a problem when, if you're someone like me, somehow you got a little piece of grip tape underneath of it. Now, of course, that'll be a problem for anything, but you can actually see it. So I guess, yeah, don't be me. But other than that, very nice tape. It might be a little easy to tear because of how thin it is, but if you're good at putting tape on, as you can see, I got the little grip gap right there, the little Kalye fist. I usually don't put a grip gap, but when I do, you know, it's gotta be styling. I hate that I just said that. But anyway, yeah, kickflip test real quick. First one. Alright. Sticky tape. Alright, see if I can get this first try. My finger's getting stuck to it, man. See if I can wipe that off a little bit. As if that's gonna do anything but get a bunch of tissue grain on it. Alright. Try it again. Yeah, my fingers are sticking to it. See, this is the kind of tape you don't need to warm up because it's already very down the board. What is going on? Here, just gotta. I think there's still a little bit of a tape or adhesive on the side. There we go. Some nice nollie flips on that. Switch flip nollie. Nollie heel test. If I land this, you gotta subscribe.
Subscribe.
First try. Okay. 2.
Subscribe.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, this is a very, very nice board. Very short tail. These trucks I actually got off of my Berlin Wood Sci-Fly graphic back in the day. Well, 2 years ago. But just to show you an example of how thin the tape really is, this is a board, side profile. I'll try to put it over something that's light. You can see it's very, well, it's worn, but it is a little thick. They might not be able to tell just how thick it is until you get the Kalye Stop Sucking tape and put that up to the same box. That is real thin, and that's as flat as I can get it to the screen. That is insane. It is really good when you're trying to do the bolt holes for the screws, because, well, you can already see it. And all you have to do, if you can't see it, just press your thumb down into it. Makes a nice little imprint into the little holes of the bolts. Another thing I did observe is that the nose of the board is also very rectangular. This one kind of reminds me of, if you got a Kalye deck and you took the tail and you just like sanded it down at the end. That's what the Kalye nose reminds me of. The tail is very similar to the top, except it's a little bit smaller, obviously, as the tails typically tend to be. But other than that, this board is very high quality. I'm trying not to say very nice, because that's the one word I use, or the one phrase I used back in the other video. And that's another part that made it very unbearable to watch. My other concern is that this tape might wear off quickly, but the good news is I actually took the initiative to order some other FBS Extra Smooth from Flatface. So if this ever does get worn, I'm not sure what it really does, since I'm not used to using any of the Kalye products. And back to the side plies. Look at that. Try to get on an angle where you can actually see it, because you can't, because I'm using my phone, and it's facing me. I'll take a picture of it and put it up here on the screen. The sides of it are green, red, and green in the center, like I mentioned before. And I just really appreciate how realistic that looks. It's not just about the realism for me, it's just that extra mile to get it looking nice and pristine. Sets them apart from any other company I've ever really seen. Another thing about this is that, of course, the Berlin wood or Black River fingerboards would be typically more rounded, but I always like the thicker kind of boxed look to a fingerboard. And I said that in the last video too, because Kalye and Kalye, Kalye actually recently, I saw on their website, it had this banner that said longer nose, and I'm not sure. But they did make some changes to the design, and I immediately jumped at the chance, even going downstairs during my workday, during a busy lunch hour, just so I could order one of these, which I guess wasn't necessary since it didn't sell out until about 5 days after. I don't even know if it's sold out now. Actually, it is, because I checked back recently. But yeah, I could have waited a few days, or at least until the end of that day. But yeah. And also, I did request this graphic, yellow on yellow. I'm glad he took the time to read that comment, because, well, I'm not really sure what the other colors would look like, but I thought since I've seen this in other videos, it would be the safest bet. Because yellow on yellow, it's not going to be any sort of crazy contrast. Very nice graphic, very nice. There I go again, oh my god. But yeah, first impression, this board is very unique. From the shape of it, which reminds me of, I don't know why, but an older sort of deck. Yeah, this board's going to require a little bit more scoop when you have your finger on the board, so you can't just like slide it from there, or you might not even get the full 180. But yeah, I'm not sure. That might just be a little nuance I have to get used to. But another thing I just said, I requested this graphic particularly because I've seen it on other videos, and that's another thing I meant to say in the last video. The thing that's always been my problem with buying a board or deck, whenever I go on a website and I see some other YouTuber who has another sort of deck, and I've done this before, maybe once or twice, but especially with the last board, I immediately scroll through the company's page and I find, and immediately I find the graphic that I've seen in the video, and I'm like, whoa, that's the coolest graphic here in the shop. But it's probably not. It's just the familiarity of the graphic itself. So it's not really that it's the best graphic, but I might be subconsciously thinking that that is the board for me since I've seen it in other videos. So it's like, I've seen it before, let me get it. But yeah, I will come back, and after a little bit of testing out this new board, doing some tricks, and I'll come back with my next review for how it performs. Alright, so I haven't gone anywhere. I just spent about a minute or two just getting the feel of the board. Of course, there's a little bit of the tape itself on the edge after I file it down. I just have to go through that a few more times, but as for now, the 360 flips, whether it's nollie or regular, it's going to require a little bit more of a scoop. Otherwise, you're just going to get that varial flip motion for whichever one you're trying to do. And for the kickflip, any trick that really requires a bit of flick off of the side or nose, whatever, for whichever regular trick you're going to be rolling the same way you usually do. That is to say, not nollie tricks. Typically, right now, I typically find that because of how grippy this tape is, for lack of a better term, I often have that phantom kick, as it's become known. That's when you don't hear whenever you're doing a trick, you don't hear the tail hitting the table, or any of the pop. And that's because this grip tape is actually really nice. So I'm moving my finger up as the board is going down, and as it's happening, it stays on my finger. So it's almost like I don't even have to flick off the nose. I just have to flick down, because it's not going anywhere. It's just secures your finger in place. Of course, it also brings up the concern, if I'm trying to do another trick, will that be in the way of me trying to do some other sort of more complicated trick that might require a little bit more of a flick? Let's say, for example, a laser flip, when you typically have to flick off the nose to get that front flip kind of motion. Let's try it right now. It's kind of it. I've never been too good at them. Alright, no. I'm not too good at them, but for right now, they feel the same. But yeah, first rate, this board is very high in quality. I can't get over how nice that graphic looks. And I was going to use the black trucks for this, the Black River trucks. But I decided, since these are the wheels I wanted for this board, since the other ones, the medium light pink oak wheels I ordered that I was talking about in the last video still haven't arrived after about close to 2 months now, that I would just have to use one of these flat face type wheels, and this would be the one that I would go to. But yeah, until these get here, if they do get here, talking to you, Ricardo, until then, I'm just gonna have to go with these. But I think it matches really nice with the yellow graphic, as it has a kind of old faded sort of look to it, for your old skateboard wheels. But yeah, my first impression of this board, without really going through the motions or trying to do any sort of tricks and grinds, very nice board. One of the more unique decks I've tried. It's very comparable, not only to Kalye, but to Black River as well. It's a very similar thickness and shape, except the concave on the edge. This is also a low shape, which this also happens to be. But this is also a low shape. But you can see how accented that concave is right at the corner. Like, that is a straight nook. That's crazy. But I only think that because when you look at one of these boards, a Kalye, it is very vague. It almost doesn't appear to be there when you're looking at one of these boards. But at the same time, it also doesn't have that much of a, I guess I'll just call it a scoop. I was talking about this in the last video as well. So in this video, we're going a lot back to the last one. So maybe you check that video out. And if you don't mind a lot of cringe content, check out my other videos. And while you're at it, you should like this one, the last one if you're going to watch it, and subscribe for more, because I will be having some more content like this out soon. And as long as I keep making the millions for my new job, so I can afford these little decks right here, and all the other close to $150 equipment that goes to a complete like this, then you should hit subscribe, because I will be making this sort of content a lot more frequently than I would typically. But, until then, just stay tuned, and when I do make a new video, you should also hit that notification bell, so that whenever I do make one, you can skip math class, whatever school class you might be in, if it's released on a weekday, which it most likely will be. I'm not really planning on doing it during the week, but if it is, who needs school? Just watch my videos. School is important, but fingerboarding is importanter. But yeah, back to what I was saying. In the last video, I was talking about how the Berlinwood Black River boards, whatever you want to call it, have this kind of scoop, I guess I'll call it. reminiscent of a spoon, actually. It's like it goes into a sort of U shape. But when you find another board, or you look at another board like a Kalye or a Kalye, that really isn't too, well, it is for a Kalye, but actually Kalye might actually have a little bit more defined, unless that's just my grip gap. Let's try looking at it this way, covering that as well. But that's one thing I always find to be different. Now that I'm thinking about it, it seems to vary between companies. Black River, I think that really what sets them apart from all the other ones is that even while it does have that shape, it kind of starts really sharp at the end, goes down, and then kind of just slowly evens out in the middle. But for a Kalye, it doesn't look that way at first because it kind of is just very constant. So it's not like it has any sharp curves in the board itself. And the last thing I actually forgot to say, while I was setting up this board, it may just be because either I got lucky or that these trucks were already pre-threaded when I had them in this deck. But while I was putting it in, I realized that it really just slipped in really nice and easy. And it almost didn't even feel like it really went in. Stop. But it was really easy to really tighten it. And sometimes I didn't even realize, but I was trying to tighten it. It was already completely flush. Like, this was insanely easy to put together. And I don't think it's really because of the pre-threaded trucks. Now I think about it, these sockets for the screws, very well made. It has a little, once again, it has a little absence of apply, so that it just cups the screw nice and easy. And it's really just really helpful when you're trying to put it in, or you're trying to do the grip, or do the little grip design right here, as I was saying before. But yeah, that's my review for the Kalye deck. I'll have to put in some work with it, and while you're at it, if you're waiting to see some more in-depth or some tricks I'll be doing with this, be sure to follow me on my Instagram, @CoinsFB. I will have it right here. And yeah, if you'd like to see my up-and-coming video, whenever that may be released, I'm sure this one will probably be uploaded tomorrow, or even the next day if it has to be. But most likely it will be uploaded tomorrow, or even tonight, actually. I will see you in the next video, and I wish you the best until next time.